Hi, my name is Shaun Halbert, and I've trained in disaster response, right, and I have a special interest in relief shelter. Today I'm going to introduce you to an innovation in shelter called the Reciproboo Shelter Kit. This is not a product, this is a new method for building shelters that anyone can use. In a disaster situation, when a family is given a tarpaulin, they have a problem building the roof. From an A-frame to square frame, these shelters have one thing in common. They are all poorly built and liable to collapse at the first rains. It was after what I saw in Haiti that I looked for an alternative to build a shelter roof. The answer was to use a 4-pole reciprocal frame. Leonardo da Vinci had used it to build bridges and to support floors, so why not use it for a roof? I found I could sit on this bamboo frame where it was supported at each corner, and this was good enough for me. I decided that this simple, strong and efficient reciprocal frame was going to be at the heart of every Reciproboo shelter. In the final design I made a modification by adding a single ridge pole to the reciprocal frame. This created a rigid triangular truss that provided rotational stability. When this structure is lashed together we have a weight-bearing roof. This is key to every shelter that you will now see. When this roof frame is lifted onto 2 poles we have our basic emergency shelter. The frame is completed by 2 side ropes and 2 heavy guy ropes anchored to the ground. It is very simple, it can be built in less than an hour, it uses only 7 poles and it is easily carried. It may look like an A-frame but it has some special differences. In 2012 at University of Galway, the engineering department subjected the shelter to an extensive testing. This was followed by high-speed wind tunnel tests at UWI, where the shelter flexed considerably but was not destroyed. Excited comments of the technician can be heard on the video at the time. From the research it became clear this reciprocal frame uses 33% less bamboo than any other shelter. The reciprocal frame roof supports the tarpaulin in the centre where it is needed most and uses less ridge poles. This translates to a massive 33% saving in transportation costs for aid agencies. The full potential of this shelter was first seen in the Paul workshop in 2013. Here we demonstrated how adaptable the basic shelter was by lifting the lower side of the frame onto a wall. This elevated shelter can make good use of devastated terrain in an urban disaster. Upgrading the single frame to a double frame is a feature of this shelter. At the Koshi River disaster in Nepal, I saw families waiting many days while local ex-Oxfam engineers built traditional bamboo shelters. Today it would be possible for a family to build their own double elevated shelter within hours. Last year 2 students and 2 members of staff at Coventry University built the basic and elevated shelters. It was an opportunity to show how individuals with little or no bamboo handling skills can build the shelters. The 2 students built the basic emergency shelter, this one on the right, over a steep bank to demonstrate how this could be built on hillsides where tents can't be. Last month I had the opportunity to build a shelter at a Red Cross training day in Myanmar using the IFRC shelter kits. After a short presentation the teams built all 4 shelters with remarkable speed and efficiency. For the first time it was possible to envisage the full potential of this new building method which used the IFRC shelter kit. Costing only £6, this basic frame is very economical. However, for the family that receives an IFRC shelter kit, the benefit of being able to build a stronger, cooler shelter straight away and get everyone under cover could be priceless. Combining the 2 kits basically worked very well in Myanmar. We also showed that when elevated onto 2 posts, the basic shelter could support heavy insulation. In this case, bamboo matting and a tarpaulin, but it could just have easily been branches or thatch. This makes it much cooler than any tent, an important factor to reduce dehydration in vulnerable individuals. Double shelter is impressive. At over 21 square metres and more than 2 metres high, it provides emergency living space for up to 6 adults. If bamboo resources are available, this could be the standard shelter for an emergency response. The double elevator shelter provides an even more dignified, well-ventilated living space. Another advantage of this shelter is that individual roof frames can be lashed together on the ground and then lifted onto post. This cuts out much of the aerial work and makes it far easier to build. This shelter was built by a Myanmar refugee. The poorly constructed roof made her particularly vulnerable to the elements. She clearly lashed bamboo poles together, but has little idea on how to make a strong roof. Structures like this do not provide quality shade, and she would be in serious difficulties when storms arrive. If she had known how to build a reciprocal frame roof, she would have been far more secure. Not only would the roof be stronger, but she would also have been able to load the roof with foliage to make it much cooler. Our trials have shown that a temperature drop of over 10 degrees centigrade is achievable with insulation. These two shelters use the same roof frame. This means that the basic RSK can simply be upgraded as more bamboo becomes available. Immediately after a disaster, bamboo supplies are often limited, and as the RSK uses 33% less bamboo than traditional shelters, this means 1 in 3 less truckloads of bamboo. So to summarize, building a shelter roof is no longer difficult. There are many ways that the reciprocal frame makes it easy. Not only is it strong, simple and efficient, but as we've shown, there are also many advantages of using this build method for both aid agencies and beneficiaries. This shelter empowers people to help themselves. My main aim is to get aid agencies using this shelter building method and start pre-positioning the bamboo kits in communities at risk. For countries without bamboo, there is the steel frame kit. Its ability to support insulation makes it ideal for severe winters like in Syria. These shelters work. Let's start to use them where they're needed most. Thank you.